After watching this video, you will feel confident going and ordering your food in Spanish in a restaurant. What I'm trying to do with this video is not just give you basic phrases that you can get anywhere else, but also phrases that will help you with anything, not just ordering food, but things that you can apply to different areas of conversation and in Spanish. But of course, we have to go over the obvious stuff first, which is how do you say the word menu if someone's giving you the list of food and drinks? Now, there's a couple ways in Spanish. One is just to say menú, which is pretty easy to remember, right? What you have to make sure of is that the U at the end has an accent mark over it, which means that we put emphasis on it. So it's not menú, it's menú. The other way is to say carta. I typically saw carta a lot more when I was in Spain, for example. So depending on where you are in the world, you might be using menú more or you might be using carta more. But let's say you see the carta or you see the menú and you want to know what the heck is inside of what you're ordering. ¿Qué tiene adentro? This one literally means what does this have inside? Let's say you wanted to ask if it has a specific item. You could either say tiene queso. We're just going to use the word cheese, for example. Or lleva queso. And again, it's just using the same verbs as before when we were asking the question. It's just asking, does this have cheese or does this carry cheese? Let's say you want that thing with the cheese in it. You could say quiero, or you could say me gustaría. And that means I want that, or it means I would like that. There's a couple ways to ask the waiter to bring you something. You could either say, me puedes traer, or you could say, me puedes dar. The first one is saying, can you bring? And the second one is saying, can you give me? Now, you don't have to say me puedes. You could actually just drop that puedes word, and you could just say, me traes, or me das. In Spain, it's very common to actually use the verb poner in this scenario, and that would be me pones. Now, typically, especially if you're eating like Mexican food or food from Latin America, it may be spicy, so you want to ask how spicy something is. So you could either ask, ¿es picante?, which would mean, is it spicy? Or you could ask this question using the verb picar, which would be, pica mucho. This is just basically literally meaning, does it spice a lot or does it burn a lot? Two very important words, probably words you've already learned by now, but it's con and sin. You just want to make sure you know that. That means with or without. Now let's go over a couple of scenarios. I'm going to give some questions that the waiter is likely to ask you, and I'm going to give you the responses that could go with those questions. So the waiter might ask you, ¿Están listos?, which means, are you all ready? To which I might reply, sí, estamos listos, or no, no estamos listos. Next, he's probably going to ask you, ¿qué van a comer?, which would be, what are you going to eat? And then I would use the phrase, maybe quiero, me gustaría. Maybe I want to ask him a question like from before where I said, ¿qué tiene adentro? Esto lleva cebolla. So there's a lot of things that we could say to that. And then the waiter might also ask what you want to drink. So he might say, ¿qué van a beber?, or ¿qué van a tomar? There's two ways to say drink in Spanish. You could either say beber or tomar. Again, especially in Spain, it might be likely for him to say, ¿qué les pongo?, or ¿qué os pongo?. So just be ready for the waiter to use the verb poner. After he's done asking you what you want to eat, he might ask algo más, which would mean anything else. And you could reply either sí, eso sería todo, or sí, eso es todo. That's just, the first phrase would be, yes, that would be all, or the second phrase would mean, yes, that is all. While you're eating the food and enjoying your meal, it's very likely that the waiter's going to ask how it is. ¿Qué tal la comida?, which would mean, how's the food? And you could say, muy buena, muy deliciosa, muy rica. These are always to say you really like it. Or you could say, es mala, no me gusta. You could say things like that. Waiter might also ask if you need anything else, and that would look like this. Necesitan algo? To which you could say, sí, necesitamos, or if it's just you could say necesito, and then talk about whatever it is that you need. When you're ready to pay, I hope you're paying, then you can ask for la cuenta. La cuenta means the bill. Don't confuse that with the word cheque, which means check, because in Spanish, cheque means like a physical check where you write money out on to pay somebody. That's not what the word that they use in restaurants. They use the word for bill, which is cuenta. And you might want to pay with cuentas separadas, which would be separate checks. Let's say you wanted to ask if you can pay with card or cash. You can ask, ¿Puedo pagar con tarjeta?, which would mean, can I pay with a card? And if you wanted to ask if you could pay with cash, just say efectivo instead of tarjeta. And hopefully you guys are gonna give a propina, which means tip. And by the way, a good propina for me would be if you could like the video, comment if you have any questions about Spanish, and please subscribe to the channel if you find value in these videos. Now, since we are leaving, let's say you're getting up and going, and we're about to wrap up this video too. Let's say you want to take the food with you. You would say that you want the food para llevar, which means to go. Leave a comment if you have any questions. Have fun learning, and make sure that you actually go out and use these phrases. Don't just have them in your head, get them out of your mouth and talk to people. That's what's going to get you to learn the fastest. Have fun learning. Hasta luego.